Hello, I'm CinematicCritic. I can't even say fresh. So I'm CinematicCritic right off of seeing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. Perhaps Nickelodeon's biggest blunder in a while that I have seen. I mean, I've seen some bad stuff from Nick, but look, this is another one of those movies that I actually wanted to like. So I was rather disappointed when this was the movie that I ended up seeing. It's nothing like the cartoon, and the cartoon is like stylized like anime, so it's somewhat mature. That's still for kids, for teens, but it has no understanding of the source material. I'll get to that in a minute, but we're going to run it through the normal review tonight. First, let's talk about the actors. We got Megan Fox as April O'Neil. Perhaps the only good... some people will disagree with me here, but I think she was okay. And she's perhaps the only good actor in this movie. Will Arnett as Vernon. How was he second billed? Vernon was funny. Will Arnett, I've seen him in things before, and I'm trying to think off the top of my head. The only thing that comes to mind is I always think Job from Arrested Development, and that's exactly what was coming to mind as I watched this film. And if you don't know what that is, it's a show on, or was a show on Netflix. Laura Linney as Chief Vincent. First half of the movie, I didn't love her. She was the stereotypical. Second half of the movie, I will say she did get better. Stephen. Sorry, I know friends who spelled Stephen but pronounce it Steven, so I'm going to go with Stephen Amell as Casey Jones. Very good acting. Doesn't follow the character of Casey Jones, though. Again, we'll get to that when we get to characters and plot. So here come the voices. Now we got Jeremy Howard as Donatello, Pete Plotsky as Leonardo, Alan Richmond as Raphael. We got Tyler Perry as Baxter Stockman. Okay, we'll talk about that. Brian T. as Shredder. I can't say anything about the acting in this movie without thinking of how bad the characters were. I'm sorry. I can't. Because these are characters that I did grow up with. And yes, I know bad me for not seeing the first movie, but that was during the time that CinematicCritic was taking a break. Enough about all this. Let's get into the actual characters and the plot. It's time to start the real review. So, number 1 of 7. Backstory that haunts the central character. Okay, it's not immediately shown, but basically, the whole idea of Out of the Shadows is that the brothers, or 2 of the brothers, I should say, kind of want to be human, or they at least want humans to not look at them as freaks. So we're going with that plot line. Catalyst gets the character moving. Well, the catalyst that gets the character moving is, of course, the escape of Shredder. But it's how this escape is done, and this is where I'm going to start talking about these characters. We got Raphael for starters. Was he always such a... I'm going to say it, dick? Was he always such a dick? No. If you watch the cartoon that's currently airing on Nickelodeon right now, which has nothing whatsoever to do with this movie, there's no tie-in, thank God. So still going to watch the next season of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when it comes out on Nickelodeon. If they do have if this does become a trilogy, not sure I won't want to see the third movie. If I'm still doing CinematicCritic, I will. But Leonardo, the leader, Leonardo, even in the TV show, has his issues with being a leader and everything. But in this, again, he's kind of a dick. He doesn't understand leading at all. The biggest issue is he doesn't strive to be better. While the Leonardo in the show and the old shows were always striving to be better more than he was, get his brothers together. In this, when we get to the next point, you'll see why. But first we have to talk about Mikey. Mikey is Mikey, right? Well, they actually managed to make him a little bit dumber for the movie. Not kidding. He's still the character, he's perhaps the least worst of the Turtles. And then Michelangelo, they've got him all geeked out in this. Like full on geek mode. Never mind the fact that he's a ninja, he's a geek. There's that, yeah. He's a geek before he's a ninja. And Raphael is a tough guy before he's a ninja. I don't really see ninja traits in any of these guys, and don't even get me started on Splinter. What? How do you ruin a character like Splinter? I know. How about making him comic relief? They do that. They actually make him funny. The Splinter was always serious. I don't remember a single time in the show, maybe there was one, in the entire show where he was funny. In this, they've got him cracking jokes left and right. Congratulations, you've officially ruined Splinter. So if you really want to know how bad this movie is, they managed to ruin Splinter. That should say it all. But for argument's sake, let's keep going into number 3. The big event that changes the character's life, of course, is we've got the escape of Shredder already. Now we've got this Casey Jones guy coming into play. And we find out that Krang is going to be coming in the picture. And I was all excited. I was like, yeah, Krang. That made the TV show so good. It was one of the best episodes. So we get to see one Krang. We don't get to see all these Krang bugs. We only get to see Krang, or as the show would have called him, Krang Prime. We don't even hear him call that once. Allow me to gather myself while I try to remember. Anyway, Krang meets with Shredder. And with Shredder now out, they meet aboard his ship. And Krang basically uses Shredder to gather up these 3 pieces that will help him build a Death Star. I'm sorry, an ultimate weapon. It's a Death Star. Pretty much. In turn, he will get rid of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. How is he going to go do about that? Well, here we come to Bebop and Rocksteady, who are just giant goofballs in this. I mean, they were always kind of goofy in the television series too, but they also had some serious qualities about them, and they could put up a fight. In this, they're just plain goofballs. They're there for comic relief, and the times that we see the Turtles fight them are far and few, and they're only very short. So before we go into spoilers, I gotta say that's my other issue with the movie. The big issue is this. It's a cash grab. I hate saying that, but it is. It is a total cash grab. Let's see. I mean, I gave it a 4 instead of a 5. So why? Because the 3D was gimmicky. You could tell, and yes, I did see it in 3D, and the 3D was good, but every single thing was thrown at you. There was constant slow motion interrupting, so the scenes didn't flow. Now I understand why people have problems with 3D and slow motion being used all the time. This was bad. Things constantly coming at my face. I understand wanting a 3D experience, but it's different when things are being thrown just so that they can be 3D. To make 3D work, it has to be subtle. It has to be something that would happen anyway. That's why action movies could use it. But in this case, they added extra action. Something that didn't need to be there. And the action scenes are short, and the cuts are horrible. You'll be in one place for 10 seconds, and another place for 10 seconds. I'm finding it hard to talk about this movie. I usually don't have that much of an issue. So the only way to continue to talk about this movie is to go into greater detail. As such, I must put on my spoiler hat. When the spoiler hat comes off, you can unmute the computers. If you don't mind some spoilers, trust me, you won't be getting too much. So, number 4. The midpoint, the point of no return of deep motivation. Actually, this isn't really a spoiler. Mikey and Raph find out that there might be a way to use this ooze they've recovered to turn them into humans so they can live normally among us, and that's where they're going with this, like I said. Okay, now spoiler alert. So number 5, and we're into the crisis, the low point. You would think that would be something to do with the brothers. They drop it! They drop the whole brother thing entirely! It's like, I'm sorry, man. Oh well, let's just move on with the movie after all. And I'll repeat for the viewer that just joined in. Oh, never mind. So, now we've got these brothers who are just fighting, and it goes back basically to the beginning. We've got Casey and April have to convince the chief that these turtles are real, and then yes, the turtles come out of the shadows for the last 20 minutes of the movie. I hate to say it, but I actually expected that. So what's the turning point of this film? Would have to be the point in which Krang actually starts building this battleship, and he freezes this Shredder. Now, Shredder and Baxter Stockman weren't very good in this. Shredder was not serious. He was always like this. He was not threatening. Not like the Shredder on the TV shows. He wasn't threatening. That was his big issue. He was serious all the time. But he was not threatening. He needs to be threatening. This is Shredder we're talking about. And he only wears the mask for like 2 minutes in this film. Okay. I'm down, Brian. Only 2 more points to go. So anyway, Krang is building this big battleship. The climax, the showdown, the final face-off between your character and the opposition, which happens for all of 5-10 minutes. 10 if you count Bebop and Rocksteady, who I would say, honestly, if this is saying something, are my favorite characters in this film. And it's only because the effects on them were done so well. I've always liked Bebop and Rocksteady. And while their characters were ruined, I have to say the special effects on them were probably the only good special effects that I would compliment in this movie. And while the characters themselves were bad, they did manage to at least maintains somewhat of the Bebop and Rocksteady personas that the original show used. At times. When they were in the battle, really. So we got Casey Jones facing off against them two, because I guess he has a past with them. It's something he didn't do. And the other thing is April O'Neil isn't a kid and Casey Jones isn't a kid in this. Or they're not young adults or teens. They're full-grown adults. That's another thing. As for the Turtles, well, they start facing off against... I'm going to call him Krang Prime. Even though he's just referred to as Krang in this, he's Krang Prime. He's like the leader of the Krang Prime. That's who he is. I'm calling him that. So they face off against Krang Prime with... Oh yeah, I forgot to mention one important fact. Krang Prime did let me try to say that again. Krang Prime betrays Shredder. So first, Shredder betrays Baxter Stockman, which did happen in the movie, to credit, so I saw that coming. But Baxter was so annoying in this film. Like, I understand that his character is supposed to be annoying, but you're not supposed to annoy the audience. At least I don't think you are. No, you're not. Okay. Oh, and then we never see Shredder again after that. Yeah, he's frozen and put away as one of Krang Prime's playthings, as if Krang Prime is the Collector, and if you don't know who the Collector is, where have you been? He's from the Marvel Universe, you know. Point being, we never see him again for the remaining 20 minutes of the movie. Ta-da! So, is he dead? I don't think so. I think that they're going to bring him back in a sequel, which y'all have to see and review. I got news for you. I'm not going back to see the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles after this. I said I was going to see it before I saw this, but after seeing this, I'm not going to watch the first one. Because if the first one is as bad as this, there's no entertainment value. The only good thing were its effects. I didn't like the story. I didn't like the characters. This may be my opinion, but as a guy who loves the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I grew up with the original show in the 90s. I watched some of the 80s shows in the early 90s. And then I watched the 90s show. And then I've seen every episode of the new show currently airing on Nickelodeon. The realization occurs when your character and the audience have seen life and change. Come on. I'm not going to put the spoiler hat back on. We all know how it ends. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles get a happy ending. You know, maybe one small spoiler. You know, the chief knows that these Ninja Turtles exist now, and that she can call on them for help whenever they need. And, surprise, surprise, they decide that they want to stay the Mutant Ninja Turtles. That whole thing about them becoming human, forget it. And that's the end of our movie, folks. It just ends right on that. Alright, Brian, you gotta make this 20 minutes. So what can I say in 90 seconds? All I can say is I hope X-Men... Civil War or whatever, not Civil War. I hope X-Men, whatever the X-Men I'm about to see is better. See, I can't even think straight after this movie, because all there is in my mind are these Teenage Mutant Ninja whatevers. I can't even call them turtles. Hey guys, I'm gonna call you tortoises. All the hit and miss jokes in this movie, like that one. So, 4 out of 11. I cannot recommend this movie. In fact, for the first time in a while, I actually recommend you stay away from this movie, especially if you are a hardcore Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan. This movie is going to offer you nothing. It has nothing to do. It's only going to make you hate the Ninja Turtles. Luckily, I went in here knowing that this was separate. If you could do that, fine. But this is not the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I got news for you. This is the Teenage Mutant... I can't even come up with a name. This is the Teenage Mutant Money Grab.